idea for our first lesson of weekly art day is that I'm going to designate this spread in my art journal to be for the whole month of January. I've never done a month-long spread before, so I don't know how it'll go, but the idea is that I'm going to divide this into sections now. I'm going to write January in the middle, and then every day I'm going to doodle decoratively one word that describes maybe how I'm feeling that day or what's happening that day, whatever inspires me. I'm not necessarily going to work in order, I'm just going to work wherever I feel like it. Maybe I'll paint, maybe I won't, and I'm going to record every little chunk that I do to make a video that shows the whole thing together. So that I didn't have to think too hard during this video, I already made a little chart that kind of shows how I'm going to break up the page. This gives me 31 chunks, plus my January in the middle, and some of them are larger than others, so like if I want to do something really quick, I will work like right there. If I want to do something longer, I'll work like over here. Really, you could divide it up any way you wanted to. I just thought it would be interesting to just do blocks, so I'm going to get started on that. So the first thing I'm going to block out is this middle chunk. For the paper that I'm working on, this is my usual journal. This is the cover of the one that I'm working on now. And I'm using Fabriano Artistico hot press watercolor paper. The reason I like the hot press watercolor paper is that I can paint on it if I want to, but it also has a really smooth surface, which is nice for sketching or drawing. But really, whatever you have will work. You're actually going to see me working in multiple journals. This is just the one that I am starting with. The reason that I'm doing this is that my goal for 2012, or at least one of them, which I'll work on setting those a little bit later on, I want to try to make art every single day. I know that that's not realistic and is unlikely to actually happen, but I think that if I say like doing just a little square counts as my art for the day if I wanted to, I think that makes it a lot more doable. We'll see how it goes. Alright, there. So, assuming that I did this right on my little sketch, I now have 31 little blocks plus the January, and I'm going to go ahead and I've been trying to practice my lettering, so I'm going to do some lettering right here for January. Now I'm just going to add in some color, totally optional. I love this little box. These are Derwent Inktense. The cool thing about the Inktense is that they go on dry, you add water, and then they become permanent, which means that if you add other layers on top, you're not going to ruin the bottom layers because it's no longer water soluble. Whereas a watercolor pencil, you can add, like you can keep wetting it. So there's definitely reasons that you might want to use both, but I love the Inktense and the colors are awesome. And so in addition to the Inktense pencils here, I have a water brush. This is a Pentel water brush. I have a few different ones, none of which are immediately handy. You can get 3 different brush nibs that I know of, at least, that are available on JetPens, and I think the most expensive one is about $8.50 and the cheapest one's about $5. I love them. I have water in here and I am ready to paint anywhere. These are great to keep in your purse for if you have a few minutes waiting for an appointment or something like that. You can do a little bit of art making while you're waiting. So I'm just going to add some color here and see how it goes. I don't usually color the whole thing. I color on the edge and then pull the color in. You'll see what I mean by that. That was fuchsia, which is number, it's either I07 or 107. And then this one is deep rose, which is 710. You don't need to do a really thick layer. Just kind of gently add some color. So now I'm going to take my brush, and as I wet it, I am activating the color. You can see that I'm kind of pulling it from the side over to the other side. Gives me a nice like gradient color. I'm not really worrying if I'm in the lines or not. That doesn't bother me. Whatever. I used to be really a stickler, like I wanted everything perfect with art, but the more I make it, the less I care, which is pretty cool. This gives me just the right amount of water so that's not like overflowing. I'm not squeezing it at all. You can, if you need more water, you feel like it's not coming out well, you can squeeze it. But I find that I hardly ever have to squeeze it. The most important thing, just because it is permanent once it's dry, I always try to clean it off. You could do scrap paper. I always just use my hand. I'm not sure why, but that's just what I always do. And then it pretty much is clear again, and you don't have to worry about it soaking into the tip of your brush. And so now, I feel like I want some color around the edges. This is sun yellow. That's what I'm gonna go for. Okay, so this is my first square. I'm gonna just add in a new square every day. Maybe I'll put the date, maybe I won't. I guess it's just gonna see how I'm feeling that day. And when you see this again, there will be much more filled in. So have fun. Welcome to Weekly Art Date. I'm really glad you're here. Here's a detail so you can see it up close. See how I went out the lines? Whatever, no biggie. Can't even tell from far away. Maybe you can. Sorta. Whatever. Okay. Happy New Year!